To fully understand the church of Acts, you have to understand that they did everything for people, not for themselves. It was all about reaching people. It was all about the lost being found and the found being built. That's all that mattered. But it was much more than, hey, you get saved.
Since spring 2013, Tuesday nights at the Family Community Church located on Percy Road in South San Jose have been filled with the spiritual words of the gospel preached by 21-year-old Chase Wiggins.
In this moment, in our worship, we have an opportunity and an honor to submit ourselves to God. And that's not something that we should take lightly, and that's not something that we should take for granted. I preached about it last week. And David, in the book of Psalms, he said, I will bless the Lord at all times.
Wiggins is not your typical pastor who wears a robe or a suit and tie, but he instead chooses to wear skinny jeans, flip-flops, and polo shirts. The young adult service is not held in a typical church setting, decorated in the usual colorful stained glass windows, statues, or pews, but in a small auditorium, where chairs are pushed together in rows, filled with young faces ready to sing worship and hear the sermon for the night. Pastor Wiggins, however, had dreamt of becoming a successful football player, but this former San Jose State University running back decided not to pursue sports, but another calling.
I started playing football at 7 years old. That was my passion. My dream was to be a University of Southern California Trojan. My initial dream was that. Going into high school, I was pretty heavily recruited.
Wiggins was a football player at Eleanor Roosevelt High School in Corona, California, where various colleges wanted to recruit him. Unfortunately, between his sophomore and junior year, he tore his ACL on both knees, which changed his expectations and his dreams of becoming a Division I athlete. When he graduated from high school in 2009, there weren't any colleges that wanted to recruit him. Luckily, during his freshman semester in 2011, Coach Mike McIntyre at San Jose State University gave him another opportunity to play on partial scholarship.
I was all just really prepping to kind of go back to football, going into that following semester, into my second year. And I ended up finding this place, Family Community Church. I ended up coming here and getting very, very involved throughout the semester. I think I brought like 23 people to Easter Sunday, from San Jose State. I was really big on professing my faith in Jesus Christ. One night at 3 a.m. in the morning watching Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I went to the foot of my bed and I got on my knees and I said, God, I don't really know if you're up there, but if you are, I'm going to find you. And I said this quote, I said, whatever you want me to do, I'll do. Whatever you want me to say, I'll say. And wherever you want me to go, I'll go.
In September 2012, the church offered Chase Wiggins an unpaid internship. He eventually became a staff member, and then 8 months later, a pastor.
I had my parents calling me, telling me, no, Chase, this isn't the right decision. I had my grandfather calling me saying, your Mima who passed away would have loved to see you play football. I mean, I just had all these people who were contacting me saying that they felt, people who were close to me and I really loved that this was the wrong decision, me leaving San Jose State. But just somewhere deep in my core, I just knew it was God. I went to my coach, Coach McIntyre, and I sat him down. I said, Coach McIntyre, I won't be coming back next semester. I'm going into the ministry.
On March 27, 2013, Chase Wiggins became the young adults pastor at Family Community Church. In order to stay close to his athletic passion, each week he has Bible study with San Jose State University basketball and football players.
When I first had the young adults group handed to me, being the young adults pastor was very humbling because the ages are from 18 to 37, and I'm a 21-year-old, a young black hotshot just stepping in and getting ready to lead all these people.
Pastor Wiggins turned a stumbling block into a stepping stone. He is an example of what happens when youth have the right guidance and state of mind. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was once quoted saying, "My call to the ministry was not a miraculous or supernatural something. On the contrary, it was an inner urge, calling me to serve humanity." Dr. King, like Wiggins, was in his early 20s when he had an inner calling to preach the gospel of love and grace. Many people are blaming today's youth for the increase in violence in urban America. Pastor Wiggins is reaching out to this generation, a generation he is a part of, and is helping create a positive foundation, in a way to help prevent Dr. King's dream from becoming a nightmare.
The violence today, you could go on World Star Hip Hop and you could see a new fight every 20 minutes, of people who are streaming just this violent society. And that's why murder rates are up and people are getting blasted because it's not a loving society. And again, it may sound real cynical and it may sound very, very cliche, but at the same time, it's love that beats absolutely everything. And I think that's what made Dr. Martin Luther King such a phenomenal man, is he repped that and he taught that and he bled that. Coming from a man who preached anti-violence, I mean, obviously he'd be frustrated and he'd probably be upset and he'd probably hop up and give a long, long speech from a podium, in my opinion. I mean, and the main reason he preached that is because of Jesus Christ, you know. I mean, he was definitely a born-again Christian, and he felt the solution to beating such a hatred and such a violence was love. And so that's how I went about it, you know. I mean, they would even do marches and they would just sit there silently and they would get thrown in jail and they want to hit people back. Whereas, you know, you had the Black Panthers who was like, we're going to go violence on violence, and that didn't work out too well. Legacy that Dr. Martin Luther King left, in the sense of love beats everything. And even in the Bible said it's the Lord's kindness that brings us to repentance. And, you know, clearly it worked, you know, and I think that's one of the reasons why he's one of the most inspirational, and he will be one of the most talked about people in our society until the end of time.
Today's parents, especially those in the African American community, have to deal with this new generation. Kids today are not only influenced by their friends, but by what they see on television, the internet, and the music they listen to. Angela Pompey, San Jose resident, single mother of 3, and a member of the Mariantha Christian Center, gives her insight as a parent on the topic of raising kids in a positive environment, and expresses how Dr. King would feel today about the state of urban America.
Our urban youth are committing violent crimes on each other, and so it's almost like his work is being reversed. And so I believe if he were alive today, he'd be concerned and saddened and disappointed. Set a solid foundation for them, you know, impart strong beliefs, be proactive in their lives every day, talk to them, interact with them, find out what's going on in school and different things, and, you know, just talk to your children, be involved, because all of that is going to be a product of how they turn out and how they will interact with society.
Pastor Wiggins agrees that values should be handed down from generation to generation, and it is not completely the youth's fault.
We could get upset and we could say, oh, those bad youth, you know, they're not good people. Or we could reach out and try to help them out, including myself. I mean, my father, who's my mentor, is a phenomenal man. And he's reached me where I was at, and it wasn't because he tried to be something that he was not. He was extremely authentic in the way that he did it. And I think authenticity is the key to life. You can't be something that you're not. I was going through the book of Joshua the other day, and Joshua, who was just a phenomenal leader in the Bible, he came right after Moses, and he was being raised up to be the next leader for Israel. And he did phenomenal things. He took land and took territory for the Lord's glory, and it was great. But there was a point in the book of Judges where his reign was done, and it said that the next generation didn't know God, and they were far from God. And so in all honesty, to the older generation and to the elders, you should slightly blame yourselves. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but there is this sense of you need to pass the baton to the next generation of leaders, and you need to pass the baton to the next generation of people that are coming up.
David Tisch, a youth pastor, believes Wiggins' young adult service has a positive impact on this generation.
When people take the teachings of Jesus seriously and submit to them and believe those things and say, this is the best way to live, and I believe Jesus was more than just a great guy, a great teacher, but I believe that he was actually something more, and then I should listen to him. And I see that worked out in young adults with Chase, in his own heart, in the hearts of his leaders, in the people who come here and are being transformed by that. That is the solution. That's the only solution I can come up with to put this fallen and broken world back together.
He continues to do his part for this generation and preaches to the young audience on Tuesday nights. Can the youth, preaching to the youth, serve as a solution for the current state of urban America?
Christianity, and more so Martin Luther King, his theology and his doctrine was, it's not about you, it's about people. You know, pray for those that hurt you. Love those that hurt you. Respond out of love, you know, and that's what's changed the world today is that kind of love, and that's the only thing that's going to change the world, because you don't know what to do with that kind of love. All you can do is free to receive it.
This piece has been presented by Destiny Palacios and Jericho Lohman in affiliation with the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at San Jose State University.